Hello and welcome back to the Sports Hour on Brimbank Live on Live FM.
This is Local Music Hype with Amy and Laurie, and we are on Live FM on Brimbank Live.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Soul Dive on Live FM's Brimbank Live.
Hi, I'm Laurie Juniper, and you're listening to Tag You It as a part of Brimbank Live on Live FM, the Drag Edition.
And you are listening to Lydia Tesma on Brimbank Live on Live FM.
Hi, everyone. My name's Roshani Jayawardana, and I'm a researcher at Victoria University in Melbourne, Narrm, Australia. This presentation aims to distill some of my doctoral research, documenting the process and outcomes of the youth-led radio station Brimbank Live, and highlight how radio making can be used by young people as a tool and vehicle for storytelling and knowledge production. This work took place and was situated within the area of Brimbank, which is a municipality in the West of Melbourne, Australia. It is also the community in which I was born, raised, and still live in, which enabled me to write myself within my research and also work with and alongside the young people in the radio making process. The radio program of Brimbank Live was supported by Sydenham Neighbourhood House, a council-run community space in Brimbank. The idea for the youth-led space was formed in response to young people experiencing racism, discrimination, and exclusion from local spaces, and being subjected to dominant narratives that circulate within public discourse and mainstream media, which paint them as at risk and troublesome, and conflate them based on stereotypes surrounding their race and community. The Brimbank Live program was formed in consultation with young people and spoke to their desires of wanting to engage and connect through creative vehicles. Radio making became an ideal vehicle for this creativity and connection to take place, particularly as this work occurred during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. 13 young people from Brimbank were initially involved in the Brimbank Live program. The young people, aged 15 to 27, came from diverse ethnic backgrounds including South Sudanese, Ethiopian, Sri Lankan, Greek, Macedonian, Congolese, Samoan, and Croatian. They also had diverse religious backgrounds, and some young people also identified as queer. On our radio shows, we unpacked, articulated, and shared who we were and what we deemed important in our lives. In supporting this work, Sydenham Neighbourhood House connected us with community contacts Making Media Australia, who are radio professionals. Working with a radio producer from the space, the young people were provided with professional radio training, as well as resources and tools to plan, record, and share our radio content. As I engaged in interviews and focus groups with the Brimbank Live team to understand young people's experiences in the radio program, I also engaged in the analysis of radio content, songs, and conversations that we produced and aired through our radio shows. Throughout our radio shows, we named exclusion, discrimination, and violence around identity, as well as impositions about our Brimbank community. The Hills, which was a show that featured music tracks written and recorded by two young radio hosts, included segments where they dissected the meanings and inspirations of their songs, such as family life, money struggles, and fitting in.
Hey yo, what's going on? To all the listeners out there, you're tuning in to Brimbank Live on Live FM. This is the Hill Show, it's your boy Ethan, aka Easy, and it's your boy Charmin, aka Hills. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about our life in music, a bit about ourselves, and the neighborhood house program, how we got into all this stuff. The song is called Hold On. The story behind this song, when I was writing it, I was going through a rough time, and it was just hard for me because I couldn't really, I couldn't really turn anywhere and try to find some hope somewhere, some faith to keep going on, and the message I'm trying to get across with this song is it might be hard now, it might be hard later, but you'll always find yourself in a better place. You gotta have that hope, to see better days.
Yeah, I co-wrote the song with Charmin, and my part of the song, like, I was pretty much just talking about how it was a struggle growing up, like, especially with school and stuff, like, going through school. It was pretty hard for me. Things were pretty rough at the time and stuff. I wasn't the smartest in the class, and it was pretty like rough for me because I was pretty slow with my learning. School for me, I just didn't feel it. Like, I didn't think it was for me. And like in the song, it's just talking about growing up and struggling to get to school, struggling to learn in school, and just pretty much just losing hope in school and just pretty much going to school for food and stuff. And just chilling with mates. And then I ended up dropping out. And then I went and found a job just so I can try and get money to help with my family and stuff. And like I just dropped out, went and got a job, started helping out my mom and dad with rent, try to give them as much money as I can. I try to help out my family as much as I could. And also part of my song is also trying to reach out to other people for like help, because in school, trying to reach out for help, not many people understood what I was trying to say and stuff, like how I was coming across. And this song for me is really just about all the other people that are like me, that are struggling in school, struggling to learn, and they're just trying to get money and stuff. Like, yeah, this song meant a lot to me because, it was rough growing up the way I did, but I got through because I always had. And this song is called Hold On.
We're just a group of poly brothers coming up from nothing. We're struggling and tumbling, but we live before we give. And never had no privileges, started low from the beginning. Holding on to faith because this world is full of sinners. Now listen when I tell you it ain't easy. You never know the struggle, slept in a jumper cause you're freezing. Not enough beds, so the floor is where I'm sleeping. Worn out shoes for the last month, now they're teasing. Don't talk to me if you never walked the quarter bus. Waking up at 6, knowing that you still had to rush. Quickly having showers, water's on, lucky us. Where school, struggling to learn. I was out of there by lunch, so I dropped out clean and started working KFC. School didn't give me any goals to feed the team, so I chose to work instead to provide for the family. This is a little message, we seek help, it's all we need. Hold on, holding to this hope we're giving you. We gon' be alright.
On another radio show that I co-hosted alongside two members of Brimbank Live, we shared conversation about misconceptions relating to our racial and migrant identities on air, and actively challenged the ways that we can be limited, boxed, and portrayed unfavorably. We also used radio to voice our identities and desires to break free from these notions.
Welcome back. You're listening to Women of Brimbank with Roshani, AD, and Lydia, and we're jumping right back into the show.
Well, we're gonna all bring up one myth that we've heard or experienced in our lives and talk it through.
Yes.
Well, I have one. It's a bit silly, but I feel like everybody would resonate, or any black girl ever.
Okay, let's talk about it.
And it's that all girls of colour, or all black girls specifically, can twerk.
That's a misconception.
I can barely dance.
That's a misconception. No, honestly, that's a misconception.
Right.
Obviously, twerking is historically attached to the black woman, but in saying that, it's still a coordination-based thing.
It's just dancing.
It's like a skill. Exactly.
Yeah. I had to practice really hard to twerk because I felt like I had to, since everybody was expecting it of me.
Pressure, AD. You felt the pressure.
And it's just like, can we just be like, why are we always boxed? I'm supposed to be a representative of every black person whenever I meet someone. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be perfect at everything.
People.
I think it's that idea of boxing a whole group of people in and being expected to be good at something that...
Although some people would see it as a positive thing if they fit that, it wouldn't be for some other people who don't fit that. Like,
it's almost as if like every stereotype has like a hidden agenda to like, you know, cripple or make you question or put you in a box.
I mean, a whole lot of misconceptions about the idea of like all people from minority groups knowing each other. It's so prominent and it's so weird. Like the amount of times people have been like, oh, I have a Sri Lankan friend. Like, do you know them? I'm like, I don't know the whole population of Sri Lanka in Australia. I'm sorry. Like, it's crazy, but it's weird to think the intentions of why people do think that.
Things. Yes.
Do you laugh it off or does it offend you?
I think I always try to look at, in any given situation, I always try to understand intention if I can. Yeah. And then that will kind of guide how I'll respond to the situation. So like if in that situation, let's say someone asked about, do you know da-da-da, maybe if I can judge that was just like, oh, they're just trying to find a point of like conversation, or they're like a bit... No, but
for how long? I feel like we keep excusing ignorance.
She's like, don't accommodate.
Yeah. We keep excusing ignorance time and time and time again. True. When do you say, read up on your shit? Most of the time, no. But for how long are we going to keep hee-heeing and no for?
Okay. Well, what do you suggest we do, AD?
I don't know. I'm not a confrontational person. People might, like, contrary to popular belief, people think I'm very in your face.
That's another misconception.
Especially when you do take a leap of faith to kind of be confrontational in a situation, and it actually took a lot for you to muster up the confidence to do that, and then for you to be like considered as someone who does that so easily, and it's that's very frustrating.
What kind of things do you want to put out there now to cement who you are as a person in amongst all of those misconceptions and stereotypes?
I would say that I'm just as fragile as any other woman. I would say that just don't assume and don't be afraid to come and say hello. You know what I mean? Like you don't know who you're going to meet or who you're going to speak to or how much you'll have in common with someone until you just say hello. And then you can make your decisions out of that. If you think I'm an angry black woman after that, cool. But just don't assume at the beginning.
I just want the freedom to be and to move and dabble. Like I want freedom to move in different spaces because I've as a black woman, and I just don't want to be looked at funny if I'm doing something that isn't typically what a black woman would do.
Yeah, I totally get that because when I hang out with my white friends, they're like, oh, you're so African. Yeah. And then you hang out with your black friends and they're like, you're so white.
That's what I'm talking about.
Damn it.
Yes. Exactly.
What? Can I just be me?
Yeah.
I'm just me.
And
I'm not black or white.
It's imposed on us by our own people in certain situations.
Yes. People imposing ideas of you being like an Oreo, like brown on the outside but white on the inside.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, just let me be me. You know,
definitely.
You know?
Yep. We are multifaceted women.
That's it.
As Brimbank Live was forged through specific mechanisms and processes which challenged traditional settings and practices, the youth-led community radio setting and the use of community radio positioned young people as knowers and leaders who had their ideas centred through the radio making process of their shows, showing how the radio program was a counterspace. Through the program of Brimbank Live, radio became a pertinent, flexible and helpful tool in young people telling their stories as they captured and authored their own meanings about their lives using radio and were able to platform these stories through their own voices, dialogues, conversations and music. This was seen as young people of Brimbank produce self-determined knowledge and stories about their identities, subjectivities and experiences of symbolic violence through radio, but also engaged in work of speaking back, dismantling and resisting. This work also sheds light on the potential radio has in not only enabling community storytelling, but in propelling, broadcasting and disseminating community stories that can reach far beyond academic texts and journals, but be engaged with, replayed, listened to and archived. It also highlights how in community engaged settings, we can use creative vehicles like radio alongside young people to engage in dialogue and co-create stories with them. In sum, the Brimbank Live work emphasises how creative tools like radio making must be supported, and how these processes and stories they produce can respond to exclusion and epistemic forms of injustice which undermine the identities of young people. The work shows how radio making can enable community authorship, platform stories to be listened to and broadcasted within community and beyond, and give insight into young people's lives and identities from their own perspectives and voices.
Knock, knock, who's there? It's the boys coming out from the west. Yeah, they know that we doing it the best. Got my boys, got my family, fuck the rest. Knock, knock, who's there? It's the boys coming out from the west. Yeah, they know that we doing it the best. Got my boys, got my family, fuck the rest. Misfits, we